I don't know how much you saw about this recent Twitter dust up I was involved in that peaked with Donald Trump Jr. tweeting about me, and then declining from there.
Oh, let's talk through it. I didn't see it.
Okay.
I have to understand, like the way you study Shakespeare, I have to study your Twitter.
Right.
I have to understand somewhat how much of it's sarcasm.
It's mostly sarcasm. I mean, here's the thing, and I know that there are people who will say, David, you're dealing with such serious issues. It's really not okay not to take everything you do completely seriously. Yeah. But my view is, it's so incredible that I've, between chance and timing and so different things, fallen into a position where this is what I do professionally, and it's a career, and it's financially sustainable, and all these different things. I don't want to end up taking myself too seriously, because I recognize the timing and luck and all of these other things, and this could have gone a completely different way. So my approach to a lot of this is, let's not take ourselves too seriously, and in particular on Twitter, a platform that, you know, the degree to which it should be taken very seriously maybe has changed over time. I'm always sort of thinking a little bit tongue-in-cheek on Twitter.
So what happened with Donald Trump Jr.?
Or
the full arc of it?
Yeah, give you a 1-minute arc, and then we can pick whichever parts we want. After a mass shooting, now you might say there's like 2 or 3 a day. You're correct. After the Nashville mass shooting at a Christian school, I tweeted snarkily, tongue-in-cheek, to point that thoughts and prayers not only aren't particularly useful after a shooting, they also don't prevent shootings. That there's some confusion about how there would be a shooting at a Christian school, given that it is a place where prayer is taking place. I think I jokingly said something like, were they not praying enough or correctly? In
my deep journalistic integrity.
You have it.
I have your tweet.
Beautiful.
This is the only display of journalistic integrity I will show today. Okay. And I have a couple of responses.
Beautiful.
And you deleted the tweet since then.
Which I regret.
Oh, interesting.
And we can talk about that.
Well, I would love to, because it's such a interesting decision. Because when you tweet something, one of the things I've also learned is you don't often understand how it's going to be read. It's going to be analyzed, like I mentioned, Shakespeare. Like there's the use of certain words that you regret saying in a certain kind of way, maybe just because it wasn't as eloquent, as powerful, it didn't actually convey the thing, or is a distraction to the main message, all that kind of stuff. Okay, the actual tweet is, very surprising that there would be a mass shooting at a Christian school, given that lack of prayer is often blamed for these horrible events. Is it possible they weren't praying enough or correctly, despite being a Christian school? And a lot of people retweeted that, which I'm assuming was criticism. So Colin Wright wrote, I used to consider you a reasonable progressive, but you clearly devolved into partisan hackery. I'm an atheist, yet cannot begin to fathom using the murder of children and adults at a Christian school as an opportunity to dunk on the concept of prayer. And you responded, I'm dunking on the people who send thoughts and prayers and do nothing else, and the shootings continue. Okay, I'm sure there's a lot of other interactions.
There's a few other 100,000
interactions.
So do you want the arc leading to the deleting?
So basically, I just wanted to display.
Do you know what time of day I tweeted the original one? I feel like it was in the afternoon or evening on a Monday.
3:42 p.m. on March 27th.
Which was a Monday. Okay. So basically, I tweet that, and then I finished the day. So
you tweet, and then you go on with your day.
I might have looked once at Twitter, and it had 2,000 likes and a few people saying, this might have missed the mark, but it's sort of like it's one of my 20,000 tweets. I don't know. Mm-hmm. I wake up the next morning. My baby daughter did not sleep till 7:30 the way I would like. So she's up at 6 a.m. and I get up and I'm just there starting to make breakfast. And I glance at my phone and I'm starting to, this was when verified meant a different thing than it means now. I'm seeing all these verified accounts that are, quote tweeting it and demanding a retraction and whatever. And I go, okay, this looks like it's getting some attention. I then continue about my day. Around noon, I hear from my dad that he got 100 messages from "you should have aborted your son" to "we're going to find all of you" to whatever else. My dad has no idea what's going on. He's like, I don't know what this is, but I have 100 DMs to everything else you can imagine. And I start to get emails about, your Jewish faith, this and that and the other thing. And so at that point, to me, I thought this is just going to get worse and worse and worse. And so I deleted the tweet. And I really regret doing that because over the 48 hours that followed, yes, the attacks escalated. It went through Candace Owens and then at foxnews.com, Newsmax, kind of peaking with Donald Trump Jr. And it was horrible. I mean, thousands and thousands of okay. But once I told my audience about what happened, I got thousands of messages from people saying, David, only someone who doesn't know you and is determined to interpret this in the worst possible faith would think you're blaming kids who died for getting shot. Of course you weren't doing that. I wish you hadn't deleted it so that it would still be up and you would now see the tide kind of turning on it. This was not a fun 3 days, regardless, but I do regret having deleted it because it was I wanted to do the quickest thing I thought I could to get people to stop trying to find family members and send them threats. And so around noon, that's what I did. And the truth is the threats didn't stop anyway because everybody had screenshotted it. And I do wish I had left it up.
I mean, is there some degree, maybe stepping outside yourself, that you regret tweeting that, in that it feeds the mockery engine that fuels Twitter? So like, does that tweet really represent what you believe?
It absolutely represents the disgust with a politics that includes saying we can't touch guns. We can't. But we're willing to point to mental health or say we need more prayer in schools or whatever. 1000% it represents that view. Is it the type of snark and sarcasm that I would use if given an hour to discuss the topic rather than whatever the number of characters is now on Twitter? No, definitely not. And so I am very cognizant of the fact that it was unnecessarily provocative how it was written.